Alright guys, time to get the car ready for nationals. Finally, got some new tires. So, visually, obviously they're very different. The old one versus the new, you can kind of see the, the tread depth holes and the line that goes down the center, how much, a good tire is. This is a little bit hard to like come across in video, but my fingernail, like, it can kind of stick in, but you could just tell how hard and used up this rubber is. While this rubber, you could just tell there's going to be way more grip in these tires than the old worn ones. So, excited to finally get new tires on for nationals. I think I just wiped dirt on my nose. So yeah, I'm headed to TK Auto Sports right now to swap them out. If you're ever at New Jersey Motorsports Park and you have an issue with your car or tire stuff, their shop is literally like right around the corner from the track. So I'll put their website down here. New Jersey Motorsports Park, definitely. If you have an issue, check them out. And the tires were from Phil's Tire Service. If you're a racer in the Northeast area, definitely support them. Awesome people there, very great customer service. They basically know most of the racers by name since they're at the track, supporting us if you ever have a tire issue at the track. So check them out for all your tire needs and stuff as well. So huge thank you to those two people right now. I'll be getting to my car in a little bit. There's not that long of a list, so honestly, yeah, it shouldn't be too bad for nationals prep. Check over a few things. I already put a list together. If you watched my last vlog or two ago when I was at Global Time Attack, last session of the day, I was just hammering out laps, so the car felt good. So it's kind of just like oil. Check over brake pads. I kind of already peeked at them in case I needed to order brake pads. Put a lead brick back in. That's really about it. So right now we're off to do tires. Alright guys, so where we're starting this one is actually in my trailer, as you can see. With using this to move shops, you can see there's just crap everywhere. So I got to spend some time organizing everything. What I'm doing right now is putting a new battery under here. So one of the cool things about when I got this enclosed trailer is like I kind of have a space for stuff. So my bumper always sits here. Splitter always goes right there against the wall. Tent, you can see extra bins for all of my bolts and hardware. Everything's labeled. All my M6 AN stuff. This little bin made an appearance in the last video. If you watched our last video, I had a little bit of a fuel leak. Something like a little tiny O-ring could have been enough to ruin the weekend, but since I have spares of even little tiny things, 10-minute fix and was back at it. So yeah, we're gonna do the battery. Here's the old ground wire. I don't know if you can see this. We'll go outside for a second. It literally fried itself because my little homemade makeshift hold down didn't keep the battery from moving, and actually the positive terminal hit the little metal bracket, and I'm actually kind of lucky it didn't burn the trailer down. So don't be like me, secure it properly. I guess I thought it was secured properly. Secure it in a way it ain't moving under any circumstances. So yeah, we're gonna hook that up so that way we can get lights back in here. Reorganize some stuff. Oh, and here's another. If you have a trailer with two wheels, these little yellow things are awesome, but they don't get the wheel high enough off the ground. So I bolted a 2x6 to it, so that way when it's on the ground you get that extra 1.5 inches. I don't have to pull the jack out to get the tire up that tiny bit more. So just little tiny simple things as you go just make the weekend go smoother or easier, and it all kind of lends itself to a successful weekend. So just kind of look at that and see where you can kind of make improvements. Not all improvements happen on the car, so that's what we're gonna do now. We'll jump into the car in a few minutes once I kind of get this, you know, to a better point. And the list on the car is pretty short as well, so not too much to do there. Oh, something I forgot to add was, yeah, the battery obviously runs the lights. I ran it up to this little charging thing, so we got USB ports and a cigarette lighter, which I put this little thing in to give me more USB ports. Pretty much the reason I didn't get last year's Nationals was, you know, the battery was kind of acting up on me. I didn't have enough juice to charge GoPros. So yeah, so it's just nice to have all your GoPro batteries charged. You know, my AIM Solo is hooked into my car, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you run it off battery, you can run a laptop, charge your phone, you know, stuff like that. It's just, you know, one of those nice things to have. Alright, so we're hooked up. You can see that I put a battery tender on it. The reason I was changing it, like I said, when it grounded itself, it must have like fried the old one. And what I had to do was I would charge it before each race, but that kind of got really annoying because how it should work is when the trailer is plugged into the truck has a 12-volt signal that should charge this battery. So when you're driving a few hours to the race, you should get there with a full battery. But that was getting annoying, so, you know, hence the new battery. And as you can see, you know, 12.4 volts, you know, so we should be good. As far as the light situation, we got this little guy, and then we have an LED down there. Might be hard to see in this shot, which actually broke, so it's sitting crooked, but you know, at least we got that situation fixed, so it's just one less thing to worry about. Yeah, gonna organize a few other things and then we will hop up to the car. Alright, so here's my list. Doing oil, passenger side fender, you'll see what that means. Blow out the radiator. I did a video on this. I'll put a tag up here, I think it's this corner, of how I kind of do that and all the little rocks and crap that come out of your radiator. You know, it's just definitely a good thing to do. Trim diffuser, we'll go over that. The rear, under full droop, when the car hangs, the rear end, one of the bolts kind of hit the diffuser and just make it sit a little funny. When it's on track, I don't think it's an issue. I just kind of want to take a little, I don't know, 1/4 inch off of it, just so that doesn't hit. Obviously wash this. I got to remove all these GTA decals from the last event. I'm going to install ballast. If you've been following me for a little bit, I took a 30-pound brick out of the right-hand side when I started running ST2, just, you know, because I was underpowered. So I got to throw that back in. Depending on how the dyno reads, I got plenty of bricks. I don't want to end up in a Watkins Glen situation again, so you know, I'm going to get across the dyno before it really counts, make sure I'm there on weight and everything, but I should be pretty close. Gas pedal, the floor mount, just loosen up, and then just vacuum out the inside, clean it all up. So that's really it. There's not too much. I don't know how much I'm going to take video of because it might be a little bit boring, but yeah, I think that's it. We're just going to knock out these odds and ends today, and then we're leaving in 2 days. Oh, something I did a week, maybe 2 weeks ago now. I went over the car to make sure I didn't need to order anything, you know, ahead of time. Nothing like waiting last minute to order stuff. So I don't really need brake pads. It's kind of the only thing you really need to order. I got the tires, as you can see. So yeah, should be ready to go. Since this car is pretty solid, better knock on wood. It should be pretty easy to get this thing ready to go. Alright, so what we have going on with the gas pedal, I only kind of sheet metal screwed it to the floor. This is kind of a homemade setup. Doing the EcoBoost swap, I switched the clutch pedal to having the master right here. The old setup, a rod used to run from here to the OEM clutch pedal and kind of activate it that way. Brake pedal is the same, that's all OEM stuff. And then when I did the EcoBoost swap, it comes with a gas pedal, but with the driver set back just had to run a rod to it, to this little home-built floor pedal. So, you know, I know it's not like the prettiest, but it's been working fine for, you know, several years now. So yeah, just gonna swap out those sheet metal screws, probably just like nut sert it or nut and bolt it, something that'll hold a little bit more, and should be good. Alright, so if you're unfamiliar with nut certs, it's basically, it almost looks like a rivet with threads inside of it that get installed with this special tool. Alright, so we're swapping the 3 tiny sheet metal screws. We're only going to do 2 M6 nut certs. Alright, so once you have this screwed on, you want to bottom it out, and then like a rivet gun, just squeeze. And there you go. Nice threaded insert directly into the floor. Now I don't want these coming loose, so a little bit of Loctite never hurt anything. Alright, so here's our lead bricks that are going back in. We got a 26 and a 30. It says it somewhere. Yeah, 30 pounds right there. So the 30 pounder goes in the front right here, and the 26 goes in these 2 holes. I do have another 26 that goes in, I think, these 2 right there and there. So, you know, obviously you want to run as close to the limit as possible. I have another, shoot, I don't know, 100 pounds of ballast should I need it. But I think these 2 should get me plenty legal, to where I might even have to take 1 out. It all kind of depends how the dyno reads, if it's a little high or low. You know, you can kind of ballast up or down depending on that. So once I get to the track, I'll kind of make that call. But like I said, I took out, I think, both of these, or just the 30. I forget. Earlier this season when I started running ST2, so I'm going to throw them back in. And that's it. Yeah, it's ballast. Only real note about ballast is anytime you need to run it, you want to try and put it, you know, somewhere that's advantageous for the car. So the car is definitely left side heavy with the driver and everything. The lightest corner on this car is the right rear, so that's kind of why I want to get the ballast, you know, kind of to that area. So that's the only real theory there. So yeah, we'll get these bricks in and then move on to the next thing. All right, so ballast is in. Added a total of 56 pounds. Yeah, so now I'm going to go on to trimming the diffuser. You can see how the diffuser actually touches the control arm right here. Now obviously everything's hanging, it's under full droop. But when I lift the car up, this kind of gets like bent down, so I'm going to just kind of clearance this tiny little bit. And from a performance standpoint, like that small amount isn't even noticeable. So I'm going to chop that off real quick. We make our diffusers with a core material that's okay to trim just for situations like this. Alright, so what we're going to tackle now is this little bolt that holds the fender, which also kind of holds the side skirt. You can see this little tiny bracket right here just broke off, so simple as just cleaning it up, getting it down to bare metal. This is my jacking lug, as you can see. So what I do is I put the jack under here to get the car up because the skirts are too low. So we'll knock that out real quick and then keep moving. when I was in here, I noticed that these rivets are coming loose, so I'll replace those as well. And then going back a bit, I thought the camera was recording, but it wasn't. Trimming the diffuser, we ended up trimming a little bit right here, so this wouldn't contact the control arm when I jacked the car up under full droop. It was really kind of putting some weight on this, so little tiny trim there. We get a lot of questions of people asking how to trim carbon. Pretty simple. We tell them to use like a fine-tooth Sawzall blade. You know, we got both of them here. If you've watched some of our older videos, like cutting our splitters to install our tunnels, we just use like a little jigsaw with a fine-tooth metal blade, and that cuts it pretty good as well. So you know, cutting carbon, you don't really need anything fancy. The same stuff that you use for cutting metal pretty much works for cutting carbon. So alright guys, so what we're going to do now, I mentioned it earlier in the video, is blow out the radiator. I have my assortment of blow tips. You know, pretty much any blow tip will work. You can see the one I put a brake line on and bent. You know, just make one specific for your car just for this. I'll put a tag up here of the video I did a couple years ago now. It's kind of one of the first videos that I attempted to do. Shot on my iPhone, kind of old, but you know, practice is exactly the same. We have a box here to try and catch all the stuff. You can see I taped the seams to try and like hold all of the crud that comes out in the box. So yeah, we're gonna blow it out now and see what we get. There you go. You can see all of this crud came out of my radiator just from blowing it out. And if you've watched any of our, you know, other videos, that's something I do between each event. So all of that stuff came from the Global Time Attack event, and you're not even really behind other cars. So after a regular, you know, race, when you're more wheel to wheel and there's more stuff just getting kicked up, you know, you could catch even more than that. So that's a lot of stuff to come out of a radiator after one event. So, you know, good habit to get into. Always blow out your radiator. You know, simple trick to kind of keep your car running cool. Alright, something I added real quick that wasn't on the original list was a brake fluid flush. This Motive power bleeder it's made an appearance on, you know, a while ago. This is one of those things that I wish I got the day I started working on cars. That's how awesome this thing is. I'll put a link in the video description below directly to one of those. I got it with the Ford specific cap, so that way it just kind of twists on. They're all universal ones and stuff, but you know, definitely if you're getting into cars and everything, do one of these. It makes a one-man brake bleed, I don't know, 5-10 minute job with no mess. They're awesome. Alright, and last thing I'm going to do today, I'll show you the list is all crossed off. So aside from wash and vacuum out the inside, it's not on here, but I'm gonna replace the little wire mesh screen in my grill. You can see how the bottom just got hit by so much stuff, just got beat up. Since this is kind of compromised, the holes in it in some areas are large enough where a stone could come through, hit the radiator, poke a hole in that, and then pretty much there goes my weekend. So I already started the replacement. You can see on this one, the original, how the bottom, how it kind of pulled out from the bottom. I do have rivet washers on the back of all of these to try and, you know, span the opening. What I'm doing on the new one is I'm actually folding over the last, you know, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch. So that way, hopefully, there's a little bit more like holding power to it. But you know, at the same time, this one was put on, I think, about 4 years ago. So you know, hung in there 4 years. Can't complain about that. Alright, so that was a bit of a pain, but you can see, got the new one in. Much sturdier, much less chance of like a rock going through and hitting the radiator. So that's it for that. Alright guys, so that's about it for this one. Last thing I had to do is wash, vacuum it, put it on the ground, and get it loaded up, get this whole mess, you know, organized and situated, but that's about it. So we're gonna end it here. As you can see, I'm not corner balancing or aligning it. The reason I'm not doing that is the last event I was at, it was the last video, maybe 2 videos ago, the Time Attack event at New Jersey. When I went to the AI Aero and everything, I went faster than I ever have before. Car felt great, so I'll just give it a quick check, but I don't think it's really worth adjusting the alignment because whatever it is, the car was fast. I hope that kind of makes sense. So, you know, let me know if you have like your own theories on alignment. I know everybody kind of shoots for a perfect number, but that perfect number may not equate to a good handling car. So yeah, down below, let me know what you think about alignments, corner balances. Do you do it every weekend? Do you never do it? You know, let me know. So as always guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you at Nationals.